Italy is known for its rich history, world-class art and architecture, delicious cuisine, picturesque landscapes and vibrant culture. This is Katie from Creative Travel Guide, and today we share this ultimate Italy travel guide. Looking for more travel tips? Make sure to hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. So firstly, let's look at the best time to visit. Italy is a great place to explore, but planning when to visit really can depend on what you want to see and do. Spring is a great time to visit most areas of Italy, especially if you are looking for sightseeing opportunities. The weather is mild and pleasant and flowers are blooming. Cities begin to come alive after the winter season, but they also remain quieter than the summer months. Fall is also a great time to visit. The summer crowds begin to thin and there are some fun local festivals to enjoy. Summer is peak season in Italy with hot sunny weather and plenty of visitors. This really is only a good time to visit if you want to stay in a resort and relax in the sun, but avoid this time if you are looking to explore cities like Rome, Venice and Florence. This is a very busy time of the year. If you are visiting Italy just for sightseeing, winter from November to February can be a great time to visit if you don't mind colder weather. Attractions open for shorter hours, but cities and popular sites are less crowded. So now let's look at getting there. Italy is an accessible country for many places in the world. There are plenty of flights available to the major cities in the country, connecting Italy to most areas of Europe as well as plenty of cities in North America. You can catch a train into Italy from cities such as Vienna and Paris, whilst there are plenty of regional trains available to use when you're in the country and travelling around. Italy is also a popular cruise destination, with Venice and Naples being popular Italian ports for European cruises. If you are travelling around Europe, you can also drive or catch a bus into Italy, with Eurolines and Flixbus being popular bus options. So now let's look at getting around. Italy offers a fantastic infrastructure so you can travel around the country with ease. Trains in Italy are extensive and efficient, making the high-speed trains a popular choice for those travelling between the major cities. Regional trains can also be used to explore the smaller towns. Buses are a cheaper option for those travelling around the country, with Flixbus offering long distance and international bus routes. For more rural destinations, you can rent a car to see the more scenic regions of Italy. Most major cities have great public transportation options, including metro and tram services. Taxis can also be used whilst you are in the major cities, but make sure the driver uses the meter, especially in cities like Rome. So now let's look at the typical prices. Italy prices can range depending on the location of choice, but expect to pay at least €50 on a hostel dorm bed and around €100 for private rooms in budget hotels, especially in the cities. You can find some mid-range options in the cities from €140 up to €200, whilst a 5-star luxury hotel in Rome will begin at €300 in the off-season. Snacks and pastries from local bakeries cost between €2 to €5. A gelato costs between €3 to €6 depending on location, whilst a pizza will set you back between €8 to €15. Lunch at a local restaurant begins at around €20 per person, whilst a sit-down dinner ranges from €30 to €70 and more if you are eating in one of the Michelin star restaurants. As one of the most popular countries to visit in Europe, Italy can be an expensive place to explore. Firstly, save a ton of money by visiting in the off-season. You can expect discounted hotel rates, cheaper flight prices, and budget domestic flight options to help you get around. Use public transportation for cheaper options too, and browse the Go City passes available in many cities in Italy. We will leave the links in the description below. You can also save money in Rome by using the Hop On Hop Off Big Bus Tour. Again, the link is in the description. Take advantage of the lunch specials, enjoy the many free attractions in each city, and avoid eating in the restaurants near the major attractions. So now let's look at the best things to do in Italy. Italy is full of exciting things to see and do. Firstly, head to Rome to learn about ancient Rome at the Colosseum and Roman Forum. And whilst you're there, take a trip to Vatican City. Discover the art in Florence, cruise the canals of Venice, and then visit the iconic Juliet balcony in Verona. Take a scenic trail around Cinque Terre before enjoying the rolling vineyards of Tuscany. Learn about the tragic history of Pompeii, visit the Amalfi Coast, ski in the Italian Alps, relax on the beautiful beaches of Sicily, and admire the beautiful lakes Italy has to offer. Visit the Leaning Tower of Pisa, enjoy wine tasting, and of course, take every opportunity to eat as much Italian food as you can. So firstly we have Duomo di Milano, a breathtaking masterpiece of Gothic architecture. This is Milan's iconic cathedral. You can head inside to experience the intricate interior, climb the stairs, or take the elevator to the rooftop for panoramic views of the city. You can also appreciate this fantastic piece of architecture from the outside, but get here early. This is one of the busiest places to visit in Milan. The next most popular thing to do in Milan is to visit Galleria Vittorio Emanuele. This elegant shopping arcade is not just for shopaholics, but it's also a great place to appreciate stunning architecture and for a bit of window browsing as well. Stroll through the arcade, admiring the luxurious boutiques, whilst appreciating the impressive architecture here. Then you need to marvel at Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper. Housed in the convent of Santa Maria delle Grazie, this masterpiece by Leonardo da Vinci is a must-see. As you can imagine, this is a very impressive and popular sight to see in Milan, so you will need to book tickets in advance. They sell out very quickly. Sforza Castle is a symbol of Milan's power and history. The castle houses several museums and art collections, and you can explore the castle grounds, visit the museums inside, and don't miss Michelangelo's unfinished masterpiece that can be found here. Next, you need to explore Brera Gallery. This is the most impressive art gallery in Milan and is home to Italy's most important collections. Wander through the gallery halls and admire its impressive collections of paintings and sculptures. As one of the world's most famous opera houses, La Scala is another one of the best things to do in Milan, offering a truly unforgettable cultural experience. You can enjoy a performance of opera and ballet whilst you are here. Again, just make sure to book tickets to a performance in advance. If you are visiting Milan with family, why not head to the Science and Technology Museum? This is a fascinating, innovative museum with interactive exhibits and sharing Italy's scientific heritage. Entrance into this museum is included in the Milan City Pass. We will leave the link to that in the description below, but you can save money on attractions whilst you are in Milan by getting yourself the pass. Of course, whilst you are in any place in Italy, you need to enjoy the food, and Milan has some of the best dishes around. Of course, you have your pasta and pizza dishes, but we definitely recommend trying risotto whilst you're in Milan, as well as panettone. Just a short train ride away from Milan is Lake Como. You can enjoy a stunning destination like Lake Como on a short day trip from the city, enjoying the natural beauty and picturesque towns located here. Hop on a train and spend the day exploring the charming lakeside villages, take a boat tour, or simply enjoy the breathtaking scenery. You could also choose to take a group tour to Lake Como from Milan. We will leave the link to a great option in the description below. Then why not finish your day having a stroll around Parco Sempione? This sprawling park offers a tranquil escape from the bustling city with lush greenery and winding paths. You can take a leisurely stroll, rent a bike, or simply relax and enjoy the atmosphere here. So firstly, let's look at the best time to visit Milan. The best time to visit is from April to May or September to October, when the weather is pleasant and there are less crowds. Italy sees a lot of visitors from June to August, so avoid at this time if possible. You could visit in the off-season between November and March, but the weather isn't the best at this time. Expect some foggy and rainy days. Christmas is a good time to visit Milan if you want to visit the Christmas markets and enjoy some shopping over the holiday season. So now let's look at getting there. Many visitors will fly into Milan from other European cities. There are plenty of low-cost airlines that offer direct flights to one of the 3 international airports that are based around Milan. If you are traveling from the US, there are non-stop flights available from Chicago, LA, Boston and Houston, but these can vary in price, so book in advance. If you have time to really explore Italy, then taking the train is a great option. Italy has a fantastic train network. Milan is just 2 hours away from Venice and 3 hours away from Rome. So now let's look at getting around Milan. The best way to get around Milan is by using the public transport system named the ATM. This system includes subways, buses and trams and is an affordable and easy option to use in the city. You can also use taxis in the city, but the prices can be much more expensive, especially if you get caught in traffic. However, there are often taxi stands outside the more popular attractions, so these make for great options if you are short on time. So now let's look at the typical prices. Milan has plenty of hostels available for visitors, with basic dorm beds starting at €25. Budget hotel rooms in the city centre start at around $80, but can be as much as $150 in the summer months. When it comes to 4- and 5-star hotels, prices massively vary, but expect to pay at least €300. You can pick up a cheap breakfast for under €3, and lunches from vendors or local bakeries will cost around €5. You can find dinner for around $15 if you head to the cheaper pizza spots further away from the attractions, or enjoy a sit-down Italian meal for around €25 per person. Public transport here is pretty cheap, with one journey tickets costing around €1.40 and 24-hour passes available for under €5. Italy is always going to be more expensive than visiting some of the cheaper destinations in Europe, but in Milan there are plenty of ways that you can save some money. Firstly, save money by staying in a hostel. Milan is home to plenty of hostels to choose from, and you can opt for a private room in a hostel to save money but still get some privacy. When booking flights, compare the prices of the 3 different airports. Ryanair and Wizz Air offer some fantastic deals, but you really need to compare them. If you plan on using the public transport a lot, you can get a 10-pack of tickets, and it allows you to save money on all forms of public transport. There are plenty of affordable restaurants in Milan too, so do your research before your trip, but also take advantage of the public parks during the warmer months. Picking up food from a grocery store or bakery and enjoying a meal in the park is always a cheap and nice option. You can also enjoy the free attractions such as the Duomo di Milano and the Monumental Cemetery, but also check out the free walking tours available in the city too. So now let's look at the best things to do in Milan. Milan has plenty of gorgeous sights and fun attractions on offer. Duomo di Milano is the iconic Gothic cathedral that Milan is known for, whilst the Castello Sforzesco is an incredible fortress that makes for a unique place to visit and is home to plenty of art treasures. Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II is the place to go for high-end shopping, and those that love Italian art should head to Pinacoteca di Brera. Visit Santa Maria del Grazie to see the iconic masterpiece, The Last Supper. But also make sure to head to San Siro Stadium to check out one of the Milan football teams. So firstly, we have the history. No one can deny that Italy is full of history worth exploring. You can find ancient ruins across many of the cities in Italy. The regions are very different from one another, offering historical sites and a variety of culture and cuisine, making a trip around Italy a diverse and interesting experience. Then we have the art. Every major city has a notable art gallery to talk about. You can find masterpieces from Michelangelo and famous works of art by Leonardo da Vinci. Beyond artwork, there are also some incredible pieces of architecture found in Italy too, with the marble dome of St. Peter's Cathedral in Vatican City, the preserved Colosseum in Rome, and the beautiful arched bridges in Venice being just a few must-sees. Then we have the food. Italian cuisine is hands down my favourite cuisine in the world, and of course the best place to try these amazing dishes are in Italy itself. To begin with, enjoy as much pizza, pasta and coffee as you can, but then head to the different regions to try local specialities. Another reason to visit Italy is the World Heritage Sites. It may be a smaller destination than its neighbouring countries in Europe, but Italy actually has more UNESCO World Heritage Sites than any other European country. In Italy, you can find 55 heritage sites, including 50 cultural sites and 5 natural sites. Visit Pompeii, the previous Roman city that was engulfed by the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. You could visit the first ever botanical garden that was created in 1545, or explore the historic city of Verona. The Amalfi Coast is another UNESCO protected site to visit, as is the historic centre of Florence. Which brings us on to our next reason to visit Italy, the world famous cities. Italy has many cities that you can explore, giving you plenty of options no matter what you are looking for. As the capital of Italy, Rome is the most popular option for many and is home to incredible historical landmarks that are a must-see. Venice is a romantic destination, Milan is the fashion capital of Italy and the world, and Florence has some of the best art and architecture around. Head to Naples for pizza, explore Verona, the setting of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, or visit the Leaning Tower of Pisa in Pisa. Another reason to visit Italy is the nature. With so many amazing cities in Italy, it can be easy to forget about the natural landscapes Italy has to offer. Visit the Dolomites in the northwest, with 18 peaks rising above 3,000 meters and offering beautiful mountain landscape views. You can also visit the many lakes around Italy, with Lake Como being one of the most picturesque and popular options. Head to the vineyards of Tuscany or explore the orange groves of Sicily. Then we have the coastline. As the country is surrounded by waters of 5 different seas, Italy has many pristine coastlines dotted by beautiful towns. This means that you are never too far away from a beach or the sea, so you can plan a great summer holiday exploring the cities, then relaxing on a beach in a town nearby. Plus, you can find plenty of fresh seafood as well as luxurious resorts along the coastline too. As we have made very clear, there are so many places worth visiting in Italy. So the next reason to visit Italy is the transport. Travel around Italy is incredibly easy, with plenty of options to help you get around and see all the sights. The train network in Italy is extensive, and many travellers will predominantly stick to train travel. There are speed trains between the major cities, and most stations are located in the city centre too, so you can hop between the major cities without too much hassle. You could also choose to rent a car to access the more remote villages in Italy, whilst Flixbus has a huge network of buses that run between many destinations in the country. The next reason to visit Italy is the shopping. Italy is known as a trendsetter in Europe, with Milan being the capital of fashion and a must-visit for many. There are plenty of shopping options in Italy for all types of prices, including fantastic outlets that offer discounts on some of the best brands in the world. Then another reason to visit Italy is the wine. The endless vineyards are a huge part of the country's landscape, and no trip is complete without exploring at least one of the many vineyards. Enjoy some wine tasting and explore the beautiful landscape that many of these vineyards have to offer. So firstly, let's look at the best time to visit. The best time to visit Florence is between April to September, when the weather is warm, open air dining options are available, and art festivals occur throughout the summer months. April, May and September are the best times to visit if you want to avoid the crowds. October and November are rainy season in Florence, making it hard to see the sights, but you can enjoy cheaper rates at this time. So now let's look at getting there. The easiest way to get to Florence is by flying into the Florence Airport or the Pisa International Airport. There are non-stop flights available for most countries in Europe, whilst those travelling from the US will need to make connecting flights in Europe. Once you arrive, you can catch the train from Pisa Airport, with the ride taking around an hour, whilst those flying into Florence Airport can catch a bus into the historic centre in under 30 minutes. If you are travelling around Italy, you can also catch a high-speed train to Florence from Rome or Milan, or opt for taking a road trip to the city. Then, whilst you are in Florence, we can look at getting around. The best way to get around Florence is by walking it. Get comfortable shoes and be careful of those cobbled streets at night. You could also use the ATAF buses to get around the city, but make sure to avoid using taxis or driving, as large parts of the city centre are off limit to drivers. So now let's look at the typical prices. Accommodation is going to be one of your biggest expenses in Florence. Dorm beds in a hostel start at €30 a night, mid-range hotels begin at €100, whilst 5-star hotels cost around €400. A simple coffee and pastry starts at around €3, whilst a panini lunch will cost around €4. Pizza for one is between €5 to €9 depending on how close you are to the main attractions, whilst a simple pasta dish will cost you around €8. You can find dinner options from $18, whilst a glass of wine can be found for under €6 in the local bars. Italy is an expensive place to visit, but there are some ways to save money whilst you're in Florence. Firstly, like we mentioned before, visit Florence between the end of October to the start of March for cheaper accommodation prices, and those looking to book a hostel should book well in advance. You can also save money by staying outside the historic centre and bike into town. You could also rent an apartment using Airbnb, but also websites like Windows on Italy or Your Place in Florence. We will leave some of these links in the description below. Also, make sure to enjoy the free things to do in Florence as well, like walking across the city's only remaining medieval bridge and enjoy the sweeping views of the city from the various viewpoints. Avoid drinking too many coffees or wines, as these prices can add up, and buy combo tickets for the art galleries and museums. So now let's look at the best things to do in Florence. Florence has a lot to offer visitors. Firstly, head to the Cathedral of Santa Maria del Fiore, known for its famous dome. Then head to the Uffizi, a treasure trove of Renaissance art. See Michelangelo's famous artwork in the Galleria dell'Accademia, then taking gorgeous views of the city from the Piazzale Michelangelo. Foodies should head to the Mercato Centrale, whilst history lovers should visit the many churches, museums and historic landmarks found here. So the first thing to see is the Florence Cathedral. You can't visit Florence without heading to this famous cathedral. It is a gorgeous place that overlooks the city, standing at 114 meters tall. Taking 140 years to build, this is one of the most celebrated cathedrals in the world. This is also where you will see the famous dome that Florence is known for. Then we have the Uffizi Gallery. For anyone that loves and appreciates art, this is the place to visit. You can see artworks by some of the most famous artists, as well as iconic works such as the Birth of Venus. Next we have the Florence Town Hall. This is another iconic building in the heart of Florence. Admire the distinct architectural design to this town hall and book tickets to go inside and explore. The Basilica of Santa Croce is another popular site in Florence that can't be missed, mainly because of its size. The church is an important landmark. Not only is it unique and stunning, but it is also the burial place for some of Italy's most famous nationals, including Michelangelo and Galileo. There are plenty of bridges that cross the Arno River, but none are as renowned or as gorgeous as Ponte Vecchio. Wander over the bridge and window shop along the stores located on the bridge itself. Whilst you are in Florence, you should also see the statue of David. One of Michelangelo's most famous works is arguably the statue of David. You can see a replica of the statue in the Piazza or the real thing in the Accademia Gallery. Which brings us on to the next thing to see here is the Accademia Gallery. It is home to many significant art pieces and shouldn't be missed on your trip to Florence. Not only are there plenty of works by Michelangelo, but you can also find a wealth of historical art dating back to the 14th century, alongside a museum of musical instruments. For the best views over Florence, head up to Piazzale Michelangelo. You need to cross over to the other side of Florence to reach this destination, but the walk is worth it for amazing views. We recommend heading here for sunset. Next, take a break from the museums and head to the Boboli Gardens. You can enjoy a pleasant morning walk through the gardens, admiring the 16th to 18th century sculptures, and you could even bring a picnic along with you. Then we have the Baptistry of St. John. As one of the oldest buildings in Florence, the exterior of the baptistry includes a truly Florentine design, similar to that found on other religious buildings in the city. Admire the scenes depicted on the bronze doors, and inside, make sure to look up to see an incredible mosaic ceiling. So firstly, let's look at the best time to visit. As with many destinations in Europe, the best time to visit Sicily is from May to June and September to October. These months offer warm and pleasant weather, perfect for visits to the beach and hiking the picturesque landscapes. Autumn and winter sees quite a bit of rain, so avoid these times if possible. So now let's look at getting there. Flying to Sicily is the easiest and best way to travel into the Italian region. Check out budget airlines like Ryanair and EasyJet to save money on your flight. If you are looking to drive in Sicily, you can catch a ferry taking your car on board. This makes getting around the island a lot easier once you arrive in Sicily. Which brings us on to getting around. So like I said, the easiest way to get around Sicily is by car, so bringing your own car or renting one on arrival is a great idea. Travelling around Sicily via public transport is possible, but slow. There are some bus options if you are happy to stick with the major cities and tourist sites. So now let's look at the typical prices. So hostels can be found in Sicily for around €25, but there aren't too many options available for you. Mid-range hotels start at around €60 and 5-star luxury hotels can be pricey, starting at least €150. Airbnbs are great options in Sicily as well, with prices ranging depending on the length of your stay. The average Airbnb costs around €90 a night. Breakfast and lunch can be found for under €10, while sit-down meals start at around 15. Pasta is a popular option in Sicily, with most pasta dishes costing between €7 to €10. So Sicily can be an expensive holiday destination, but there are plenty of ways to save money as well. Visit in the low season and book holiday rentals to save money on your accommodation. Use the public taps to keep hydrated and eat the local food to save money on eating out. Avoid eating out in the tourist areas and explore the quieter neighborhoods instead. So now let's look at some of the best things to do in Sicily. There are plenty of interesting and gorgeous places to visit in Sicily. Head to the historic buildings and monuments in Palermo before visiting the picturesque fishing town of Cefalù. Visit Mount Etna after exploring Catania. The first reason that you must visit Rome is to learn more about its incredible history. Rome was a huge part of the Roman Empire, one of the world's most powerful civilizations in history. Walking the streets of Rome today, you can find ancient ruins across the city, making it an excellent destination for history lovers. With so much history, the capital was bound to have some amazing architecture to appreciate as well. With 12 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, including the famous Colosseum, you will not be stuck for things to see and do when exploring the breathtaking architecture in Rome. Although rich in history and ancient ruins, Rome is still modernizing all the time. After you have explored the many sights in the city, you can relax in a trendy bar during the evening, or take a day to visit an art gallery or go shopping in the many high-end stores. Another reason to visit Rome is actually to technically leave Rome and visit the Vatican. The world's smallest state is definitely worth a visit whilst you are in Rome. Surrounded by the capital, the Vatican is home to the Pope as well as many important religious locations, including the Sistine Chapel. Rome is one of the world's most famous cities when it comes to art. You can find beautiful sculptures and paintings throughout the city. Some of the most famous and talented artists have called the city their home, resulting in countless museums and galleries for you to explore. Of course, food is a fantastic reason to visit Italy. Beyond the pizza, make sure to try the gelato, carbonara and Roman-styled artichokes. Plus, you can find some of the best wines in the world whilst you are in Rome. Make sure to try a wine tasting session to enjoy some of the best flavours the country has to offer. So firstly, let's look at the best time to visit. Rome is a popular place to be, so timing your visit for the good weather and fewer crowds is important. April, June, September and October are good months to visit as the crowds are smaller but the weather is warm. The locals take time away from the city in August and many attractions and restaurants are closed during the winter time. Now let's look at the typical costs in Rome. So hostel dorm beds are available in Rome, but they're going to start at around €30 in the city centre, whilst there are some cheaper options on the outskirts of the city. 3 to 4 star hotels will cost around €100 to €155 depending on your location, whilst 5-star hotels start at around €220, but many will cost more than €300. To get around Rome, you can use the metro system with tickets costing €1.50, whilst a one-day pass is €6 and a week pass is €24. A coffee and pastry breakfast will cost under €5, whilst a pizza for one will cost around €6. Pasta at a decent restaurant will cost you between €10 to €16. Rome is an incredible place, but it can be incredibly expensive as well. Make sure to stay on the outskirts of the city to save some money, try some couch surfing if you are a solo traveller, and eat some of the cheaper food by eating away from the tourist sites. If you are heading to Rome soon, make sure to hit subscribe. We have a whole video coming up about ways to save money in Rome. So now let's talk about getting to Rome. Most people will fly into the international airport. From the airport, there are a few ways to get into the city. A taxi will cost around €48, whilst the bus costs just €4 to €5. The Leonardo Express train from the airport to the city will cost €11. Getting around Rome is fairly easy. The metro is the fastest way to get around the city. There are 2 lines that take you near most attractions. Single journeys will cost $1.50, whilst daily and monthly passes are available. You can choose to get the bus. It is slower than the metro, but the bus in Rome will get you to the places outside of the city centre that the metro doesn't get you to. Maps are available online and in most hotel and hostels. You can catch a taxi around Rome, but we highly recommend you download the Uber app and use this instead. It often works out cheaper. Of course, there are plenty of amazing things to see in Rome. We actually have a full blog post about the best things to do in Rome. I will leave the link in the description below. But make sure to check out the Colosseum, St. Peter's Square, the Roman Forum, the Vatican Museums, and the Pantheon. Pick up some gelato and enjoy it outside the Trevi Fountains along with everyone else who's doing the exact same thing. So the first thing you have to do whilst you are in Rome is visit the Colosseum. Of course, this list was going to start with the Colosseum. You can't visit Rome without heading to this renowned and iconic landmark, which was constructed between 70 to 80 AD and at its peak held around 80,000 spectators. The amphitheatre was once used to hold gladiator tournaments and other forms of entertainment during the Roman Empire. You can now take a tour of the Colosseum, learn about the history, and appreciate the famous structure and ancient architecture. The Colosseum is open every day except for Christmas and New Year's, with the Colosseo metro station being the easiest route to get to this attraction. Buy tickets online to avoid the long queues or opt for a guided tour. Located next to the Colosseum is the most important Roman ruins in Italy, the Roman Forum. This is an ancient site of Roman ruins that was once the centre of Roman life and includes temples, arches and squares. You can purchase tickets for entry to both the Forum and the Colosseum, but make sure you allow plenty of time to explore and wear comfortable shoes. Next we have the Pantheon. As one of the most preserved ancient Roman buildings in the world, the Pantheon is one of Rome's most famous attractions. Constructed in 118 AD, this monument can be found in the centre of Rome in the Piazza della Rotonda. Next we have St. Peter's Square. Ever wanted to visit a tiny country? In Rome you can do just that. Head to St. Peter's Square to discover the Vatican. This is an independent state and is one of the most important religious sites in the world, with St. Peter's Square being home to many significant events. Appreciate the beautiful statues of the religious figures and previous popes before visiting St. Peter's Basilica. Next we have the Trevi Fountain. The Trevi Fountain is one of the most famous fountains in the world. There are very few fountains that are as lavishly decorated as this. Constructed in 1762, the fountain pays tribute to the Roman god Oceanus, who is interpreted in the fountain riding his chariot. It has become a tradition to throw coins in the water for good luck, but doing so during the high season can be a struggle. This is a very popular fountain, so get here early. Then we have the Spanish Steps. Whilst you're in Rome, make sure to head up the 135 Spanish Steps, connecting two popular squares together. At the top of the steps, you will find a large crucifix obelisk and the Trinita del Monte Church. At the bottom is Piazza di Spagna, home to plenty of stores and cafes. Spend an afternoon exploring this area, seeing the sights and taking plenty of photographs on these famous steps. So then we have the Vatican Museums and Sistine Chapel. The Vatican complex of museums also includes this famous chapel, meaning exploring this area is a must. The museums are home to a variety of classical and historical artwork which has grown over many centuries, now holding 70,000 pieces of artwork. You can get yourself a dual ticket, meaning you can visit the Sistine Chapel, one of the most renowned religious chapels in the world. This was extensively restored in the 1400s with stunning ceiling artwork and detailed decorations adorning the walls. Next we have Piazza Navona. Built in the 15th century, this is another popular site in Rome. Not far from the Pantheon and Trevi Fountain, the square is a great place to enjoy a stroll, especially in the warmer months. Here you can find artists and street vendors standing alongside the Fountain of Neptune and plenty of incredible sculptures. You also should visit Galleria Borghese. The Borghese Villa complex is an important art museum, home to fine art paintings, sculptures and antiques. The building itself is impressive and beautiful, so allow plenty of time to view the masterpieces and explore the villa gardens. Another monument in the heart of Rome is the Altar of the Fatherland, dedicated to King Victor Emmanuel, who was the first king of unified Italy. This monument is near the Colosseum and the Pantheon, so include a visit here during your trip. At the front of the monument is a large bronze statue of the former king, and in the base of the monument is a museum that shows the history of the unification of Italy. So firstly, let's look at the best time to visit Venice. So September to November is the best time to visit Venice because the weather is pleasant and there are a lot less tourists. Avoid visiting in July and August as these are the busiest months in the city, whilst the winter is a good time for those visiting on a budget. Now let's look at the typical costs in Venice. So Venice is known as being a pretty expensive city to visit. Budget hostels cost between 30 to 50 euros a night, whilst a private room in a budget hotel will cost between 55 euros and 90 euros. Mid-range hotels cost upwards of 150 euros, whilst luxury hotels cost upwards of 300 euros. If you are travelling as a couple or group, you may benefit from renting an apartment, with these costing between 90 to 180 euros depending on the location and time of visit. Walking and water buses is the main way to get around the city, with ferry crossings costing 5 euros, unlimited travel cards being available for 20 euros a day, and of course walking is free. Food can be expensive in Italy in general, but you can get some good deals by picking up €4 croissants and coffee for breakfast and sticking to the street food items for €5 each. For dinner, make sure to head to small pasta or seafood restaurants for cheap options starting from €12. To save a little bit of money whilst you're in Venice, make sure to avoid visiting in the high season. Prices really do rocket up during this time, and stick to the water taxis. You do not need to get a private water taxi or gondola whilst you're in Venice. These are overpriced, and although they are very romantic if you're travelling as a couple, we just recommend sticking to the water taxis. If you plan on visiting Venice in the future, we recommend you hit subscribe because we have a Save Money in Venice travel guide coming up in the next few weeks. So now let's talk about getting there. So most visitors will arrive via the Marco Polo airport. From the airport, you can get a one-way bus or aerobus for €8, a private land taxi for €45, or a shared water taxi for €27 per person. Before arriving, we recommend you work out the best option depending on where your hotel is. So now let's talk about getting around. So Venice has a transit system consisting of buses and water buses. So travel cards, like I mentioned before, are available for up to 7 days for those looking for unlimited travel. Private water taxis are also available to hire, and they do make for a romantic evening, but they cost between 80 to €120. So now let's talk about the best things to do in Venice. So firstly, of course, you have to visit the famous St. Mark's Square. This area of the city is historic, and we highly recommend you visiting here. Also, make sure to visit the Grand Canal and visit the many famous bridges around the city. Of course, you are going to want to eat food. We recommend you checking out the gelato, all of the pastas, all of the pizzas. You will find some amazing restaurants in Venice, and we highly recommend you opt for the restaurants that are further away from the tourist attractions. So the first way that you can save some money in Venice is to avoid the high season. Of course, the high season is going to be more expensive than other times of the year, so avoid it if possible. June to August are the most popular times in Venice, as this is the time around the holidays in Europe. Also avoid the Easter holidays as well. So now let's talk about ways to save money when you are getting around Venice. So water taxis are a great way to get around, but avoid the private water taxis to save some money. These are a lot more expensive than the local ACTV water buses. Also, don't just get a single ticket. These cost €7.50 each. Instead, opt for the day passes. And on a similar note, skip the gondolas. Although iconic, gondolas in Venice are expensive. A 40-minute trip will cost at least €80. You will probably be in a boat with others you don't know, and will have a lot of tourists taking photos of you too. Another way to save some money getting around Venice is to get a city pass. This is an all-in-one pass which helps you save money on public transport and admission to tourist sites. The Gold Pass offers transport and admission for 3 days and is one of the most popular options for those visiting Venice. Another way to save some money in the city is to eat the street food. One of the best parts to Venice is the street food. From crepes to pizza slices to deep fried balls of risotto, there are plenty of cheap street food items to choose from. Also, when you are eating in a restaurant, make sure to check the bill before you pay. Sometimes service charge is included and sometimes it isn't, so make sure to double check it before you leave a tip. Another way to save some money in Venice is to enjoy the free attractions. Like every city in the world, Venice is home to some fantastic free attractions. Visit the historic churches and get walking around Venice to see the free sights. Also, the city is full of some incredible museums. If you plan on visiting a lot of museums, you can pick up a museum pass. This includes 7 museums in the city and is valid for 6 months. This helps you save money on entrance fees and you get to see all of the sights as well. So firstly, we have St. Mark's Square, and many of the landmarks you would want to see are located here. Located on the Grand Canal, this is a very popular place to start. You can go for a walk around the arched walkways that surround the area, and it is nearby many landmarks as well. Found on the eastern end of St. Mark's Square is St. Mark's Basilica. This is arguably the most famous landmark in Venice. A unique piece of architecture that has stood the test of time. This has been standing since 1092 and is one of the most important religious buildings found in northern Italy. Appreciate the detailing and artwork of the exterior and then see the beautiful works of art on the inside of the domed ceiling. Then we have San Marco Campanile, the bell tower of St. Mark's Basilica. Towering at 98.6 meters high, this building is made of a red brick design and is the tallest building in Venice. Admire the tower, then head up the elevator to get some fantastic panoramic views of Venice from the top. Doge's Palace can also be found on St. Mark's Square and looks out onto the Grand Canal. This is an ornate palace with beautifully arched designs made from white stone and a series of patterns along the walls. After appreciating the outside of the palace, head inside to explore the decorated rooms. Then we have Ponte di Rialto. There are bridges all over Venice and this is one of the most impressive and popular. This bridge connects the San Marco to San Polo district and is beautifully designed. The Grand Canal is home to water buses that run up and down it from morning to night. This is a busy canal, but we highly recommend you take a boat along it at least once. For a more calming experience, take a boat along here at night, or you can hire your own water taxi to explore, especially if you are celebrating a special occasion. Then we have Galleria dell'Accademia. For pre-19th century artwork, head to this popular art gallery. The building was formerly a convent that had been converted to a museum in the 1700s and is home to a famous work of art by Da Vinci, the Vitruvian Man. The Vaporetto is the main form of transport in Venice and is a must-do whilst in the city. This system is a sufficient way of getting around Venice, as well as a pleasant choice too. You can buy passes that allow multiple trips, so plan to use this boat system to get around and see the sights. Then we have Murano. Murano is an island within the Venice district and offers a wonderful, charming alternative to Venice itself. It is not as busy as Venice and the town itself includes its own selection of impressive buildings. You could even watch glass-blowing demonstrations here too. Then we have the Basilica di Santa Maria della Salute. This renowned church stands out in Venice because of its Baroque design. The church was completed in 1687 and the inside is just as impressive, holding 4 statues of the apostles and a main dome that towers above the Venice skyline. The Venice Lido is often overlooked, but is a great place for those looking to relax. This can be found on a separate island and includes a long stretch of beautiful beach, perfect for those visiting in the warmer months. So firstly, let's look at the best time to visit. The most popular time to visit Verona is between July and August. This is the hottest time of the year and a great time to visit Italy. December is a cooler time to visit and also the driest time of the year, so this could be a great time to visit if you want to save money and don't mind the chilly weather. May, June, September and October see pleasant weather and are the best months to visit if you want decent weather, less crowds and fair prices. So now let's look at getting there. Verona is easily reachable by many of the cities in Italy. Trains are available for Milan, Venice and Bologna, whilst the highways make it easy to drive or take a coach to the city. If you are flying into Verona, you can find some direct flights from European cities, but stopovers in cities like Rome are common. So now let's look at getting around. Verona is an easy city to navigate. Firstly, you can walk around the city with ease, as many landmarks are close to one another in the city centre. From the airport to the city, you can catch the airline bus or take an airport shuttle. You can also catch a bus to get around Verona itself, with the Ticket Bus Verona app making ticket purchasing quick and easy. You could also choose to rent a bike or e-bike to get around the city as well. Head over to the bikeverona.it to see the daily fees and sign up to the bike sharing program. We will leave the link in the description below. So now let's look at typical prices. Verona is a great place for those visiting Italy but looking to not overspend in the bigger cities. Hostel dorm beds can be found for around €35 a night, whilst budget private rooms can be found for around €60. Mid-range hotel rooms start at €90 and more luxurious hotels begin at €150. A small breakfast begins at €3, whilst a quick lunch starts at €6. A sit-down dinner varies in cost depending on the location, but a three-course meal can be found for around €30 per person if you are eating further away from the attractions. Verona can be visited on a budget if you know how to save. Firstly, head to the free attractions like the many beautiful squares. Get yourself a Verona card on Get Your Guide to save money on paid attractions, including the Verona Arena and many museums and monuments. We will leave the link in the description below, but this card also includes the public transport inside Verona City. If you want to see all of the churches, there is also a 4 churches card available for more savings. Many museums in the city offer free entrance on the first Sunday of each month, and the Verona Opera Festival, which runs from June to August, offers unreserved, inexpensive seats at the top level in the Roman Arena. Enjoy food from the local delis and take advantage of the many parks for those sunset picnics. So now let's look at the best things to do in Verona. Verona is more than just a famous balcony. Firstly, head to the Verona Arena, a preserved national landmark located in the middle of the historic town centre. After taking a tour of the arena, make sure to explore the historic town centre too. Here you will find many churches, wide piazzas and Juliet's house. Then head to Castel Vecchio, an impressive castle that was originally constructed in 1354 and served as a mode of defense for the city. Head inside the castle to explore the museum and learn more about its history. Visit the Basilica of San Zeno, an important religious building in the city, which not only has stunning architecture, but is also depicted in the Romeo and Juliet play as their place of marriage. Visit the tallest tower in Verona, Tower Lamberti, then head into the Verona Cathedral. Spend time visiting St. Peter's Castle, then explore the Scaliger tombs. So firstly, let's look at the best time to visit. Naples is a popular place to visit, but the best time to explore the city is between March and April. This is when the weather is mild and there aren't too many tourists. Summer is hot and humid, not ideal for those looking to see the sights, but you could choose to visit at this time if you're sticking to the hotel pool or the beaches. Fall can also be a good time, but prices still stay high until the end of September. So now let's look at getting there. If Naples is the only destination you plan to visit in Italy, then you can head to Naples International Airport. Ryanair and EasyJet offer affordable flights from UK cities and nearby European cities, whilst those travelling from further afield could stop over in Rome. From the airport, you can either take a 20-minute taxi or use the airport shuttle to the city centre. If you are visiting Rome first, you could get a high-speed train to Naples, with the route taking an hour. Milan is a 4-hour train journey away, and Florence is a 3-hour train journey away if you plan on visiting other cities in Italy. So now let's look at getting around. Naples is a sprawling city, but there are a few options for you to get around. The historic centre is compact, so you can see many of the sites and monuments by walking. For sites further afield, you can use the underground metro system, with Line 1 taking you to many of the major sites. Line 1 is also known as the Art Subway, as the stations are decorated by contemporary artists and are an attraction themselves. So now let's look at typical prices. Naples is a great place for all travellers, no matter what your budget. Hostel beds begin at €30, whilst private rooms in hostels begin at around €90. Mid-range hotel rooms also begin at €90 depending on the location, with 4-star options in the historical centre beginning at €200. More luxurious hotels begin at around €300. Food in Naples can be much cheaper than food in other cities in Italy. Breakfast can be found from €3, whilst cheap lunches like a pizza slice or fast food options cost under €8. Local casual restaurants offer dinner choices from €12, whilst more formal dining spots offer meals for around €18. Here you can also find fixed price 3 or 4 course menus offering traditional cuisine, with many of these starting at €20. Naples is one of the cheaper destinations to visit in Italy, and there are plenty of ways that you can save money here. Firstly, avoid the summer if you can. Hotel prices are much higher at this time. Hostels can be found in fantastic locations, and many offer private rooms as well, so don't dismiss these if you want to visit on a budget. There are some great open-air markets in Naples, so pick up food from these and enjoy a few picnics rather than eating out. Get yourself the Arte card to save money on the best sites in the city, or browse the tours that include admission to the major sites for discounted prices. We will leave these links in the description below. Stick to walking around between sites as much as possible, and make sure to enjoy your coffee standing up. Many espresso bars will charge if you sit and have your drink. Take advantage of the free things to do here as well, such as the historic area, the many churches and gorgeous parks. Of course, Naples is known for its pizza, so stick to pizza whenever you can. These are affordable and tasty and can be found all over the city. Naples has plenty of things to see and do that would keep every traveller busy. Firstly, check out the art museums and Naples National Archaeological Museum before heading underground to see the city's catacombs. You can take a bus tour from Naples to visit the magnificent Mount Vesuvius, with an option to take the 30-minute hike to the top. But also make sure to take a trip to Pompeii, the ancient Roman city that was destroyed by the nearby volcano. Another lesser-known city that was devastated after the 79 AD eruption of Vesuvius was Herculaneum, so take time visiting this quieter, better preserved city. Back in the city, make sure to spend time visiting the castles before visiting one of the churches in the city as well. Spend an evening taking a stroll along the Naples harbour, and make sure to explore the district of Santa Lucia for craft shops, cafes and restaurants. So firstly, we have Florence. From notable historical buildings, incredible galleries, educational museums and tasty dishes, Florence has everything you need for an Italian experience. Visit the major sites in Florence, but make sure to find some time to just wander around the streets. The architecture in this city is stunning. Also, whilst you're here, try some authentic Tuscan dishes, with the Santa Croce district offering some of the best Italian dishes around. Next we have Venice. Venice is one of the most famous places in Italy for many reasons. Take a dreamy gondola ride whilst you admire the gorgeous architecture in the city and cruise along the canals. This city has a mixture of Gothic, Renaissance and Baroque styles, so those who love European architecture will not be disappointed. Whilst you're in the city, make sure to visit St. Mark's Basilica, Doge's Palace and Rialto Bridge. Next we have Milan. Known as the fashion capital of the city, Milan is a very popular place to visit. Not only is it home to Milan Fashion Week, but you can also see Leonardo da Vinci's famous painting, The Last Supper. If you are visiting in the spring, then make sure to check out Milan's numerous parks and gardens, but also see some of the incredible artwork found in the city too. Then we have Bologna. Bologna is often overlooked, but it is a charming city and offers some of the best food in the country. Visit the churches and palaces before heading up the city's very own Leaning Towers for incredible views. Explore the Bologna National Gallery before enjoying some shopping in one of the many markets and stores in the city. Enjoy tortellini, one of the most popular traditional Italian foods in the region, but also take a food tasting tour to try all of the local specialities. We will leave the link in the description below to our favourite. Home to plenty of public monuments and royal palaces, Turin is another beautiful city to visit in Italy. Spend time visiting at least one of the palaces before heading to the Egyptian Museum or the National Museum of Cinema. After sightseeing and eating your way around the city, make sure to visit Parco del Valentino, a beautiful park located on the banks of the river. Then we have Rome. Of course, the capital of Italy is one of the most beautiful cities to visit and has a lot to offer visitors. Head to the famous Colosseum, a location that was once home to gladiator tournaments. Then visit the Pantheon and take a trip into the Vatican City to see the Sistine Chapel. Join the crowds at the Trevi Fountain, take a walk up the Spanish Steps and visit Castel San Angelo. Then we have Naples. Located in southern Italy, Naples is a large city full of ancient wonders. Visit the remains of Pompeii and Herculaneum before spending a day on the shores at the Bay of Napoli. You could head out to the enchanting towns on the nearby Amalfi Coast, but spend some time in the city exploring the historic centre and eating plenty of local food. Then we have Bari. From castles to the national park, Bari is a picturesque, charming city. The main attraction in the city is the Basilica of St. Nicholas, but make sure to spend a day along the seashore enjoying the blue waters. From the city, you can also visit the nearby spots like Swabian Castle before spending an evening at the theatre. Watch this video to find out 10 reasons to visit Italy. Then to learn about the best places to visit in Italy, watch this video. We hope you have an incredible time and stay creative.